new stuff on the ban list. But MVP's final ban will be with the Nocturne ban. It could just be Ian, I should say, returning to his old favorite in the Zoe, but it's been blue side banned a couple of games so far on patch 8.13. Waiting for MVP to decide, and they will blue side ban the Zoe.
So his next most played would be the Swain, which certainly has been high priority as well.
And now the choice is, do we ban the Yondu favorite in the Sejuani or the Swain flex pick? Swain is a bit more
which
of
is
headaches.
very important.
Good point. I wonder if either team would consider funneling. No funnels so far in Korea on 8.13, only at Rift Rivals. MVP, first pick, a lot available. The Talia one we didn't even mention, but also is a high-ticket item. The Swain flex pick is the most malleable, and remember, ADD was our first of the new Swains, so this is a three-way flex for MVP.
Yeah, Kingzone now considering what they want to go towards.
Okay.
They just insta-lock the Kled and the Sejuani. Okay, if you get burnt by it, let's demonstrate that we can use it. And oh my god, this is already turned into a fun game.
And MVP couldn't even hover at Atlas. It was too late. Already
This is to
snapped
deny
up,
the
baby.
hover. This is to deny the hover purely. They don't actually want to play it. They just don't want to get triggered by it. So who cares? We're going to pick it up. You guys can't play it. Yondu, thinking about an old favorite in the Gragas.
Remember that this
not happening. We're going to get
top
the original.
lane Kled is also a mid lane flex now because of super carry Doinby. And it's red side, so you could flex this all the way to the end. That's a lot of headaches because you want to just take Fiora, but you'd need both Ian and ADD to be confident Fiora players. Unlikely. You want a lane swap? I guess it's manageable. What is another answer into the Kled? Because so far, we did see Kled lose in the previous game. It wasn't necessarily about the execution of the Kled lane.
Well, Trundle going to be picked up as well as the Darius, so denying a potential Mundo if we are going to see that Kled flexed towards the mid lane as the flexibility continues as the Vladimir was considered. Gangplank would be a big one.
This would be mid lane BDD Kled as well if they do lock in the Gangplank.
Unless BDD wants to be playing the Gangplank himself, they could also give it to Prey, but I highly doubt that that's going to happen. Vladimir going to be locked in, so still the question marks loom, and it is feeling a little bit more like the fact that we don't yet know what the other solo laner is.
We do see GP drafted into Darius pretty frequently to try to get through the lane or maybe even win the lane. We saw the Resolve Tree Gangplank have a happy time for Keen back at Rift Rivals. Syndra priority pretty damn high, Atlas, as we've seen it banned. An early rotation by multiple different teams. As people are really starting to like it with all the incidental changes to other champions.
Yep, Chovy picking it up yesterday, dominating with the champion as well, and then banning it away. Soraka is going to come in for MVP as their first ban. See what Kingzone do to round out. They want to take away from this MVP roster, and Lulu is going to lose her spot on the Rift. We saw Lulu be very powerful in our last game.
It was the duo, right? Lulu, Tahm Kench for the single target disengage on the Kled ultimate and just the turnaround with the wild growth. This time the Lulu will be taken away. No Khan Jace allowed, so they also buy into this being a mid lane Kled from BDD.
Yep, still assuming the flex. We're looking at a bottom lane with a lot of CC potential if this Fiddlesticks could be locked in, but Shen is another great option. Does project the fact that we're probably going to be putting the Vladimir down there.
It also, against the enemy team, they're not going to have a lot of range, you can tell already from the first 3 picks, so it makes sense to go for the Shen here. Won't be super punished in dual lane, you would imagine. They already banned away the Soraka themselves, did MVP. Are we going to see a max special? I'd love to see a brand out of nowhere. We've been waiting for that brand, Atlas. We haven't seen it in summer season.
I feel like Max only picks things when you definitely do not assume that he's going to, so he's having a very hard time in a meta that you can basically pick anything. And,
all right.
Malzahar, okay. We're going to go for a real change as Maha locks that in potentially for Ian, unless he wants to play it on the bottom side. We'll see what Maha's been cooking. Remember, he's only played once in 1 game so far this season, and Papa Smithy has one hell of a quizzical look on his face.
I don't know about the matchup against Kled mid, so is it really how's it? No, they wouldn't do it.
Prophet Papa predicts the brand. Woo! In it goes. That's what we're talking about. Thank you so much. You got to talk about Mordekaiser. Can you talk about a Mordekaiser right now? I really want to get one. Don't know where it's going to go.
I just want to talk about brand, baby. Sees a lot of short-range champions. It's time to go with the brand. However, we still have this flex on, and there's a lot of squishies on the side of MVP. Malzahar versus Talon's pretty good matchup for the Talon if he wants to roam. We're getting a Smite Talon, we're getting Khan on the Kled for the second time this season. We're getting a lot of frisky stuff on the Rift, and we're not getting any marksmen on the side of MVP. That might just be a Vel'Koz replacement and a Malzahar for Maha.
Oh my god, yeah, I think that the Malzahar should be going towards the bottom lane, and think about how disgusting the amount of dot damage that you're taking from this duo of champions.
Wait, we might be getting a Darius mid lane against the Talon.
It might be MVP trolling us, and they are going to.
It's something worth thinking about, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things going on in this draft. They just about confirm it. Here we go. So for a second there, I wondered. Be Darius, very good into Aurelia. There's that chance you're pushed in by a Talon, so you can understand maybe just sticking with the Swain, but early game, this is going to be the sort of lane that Talon can roam on, but can PD find the spots that UCal could not? Kingzone trying to stop this curse of the Rift rivals. 0-4 so far for Afrika and KT. A lot of creative stuff, and that first round insta-lock Kled is a real one that makes you smile.
Yeah, no, it's been a really exciting champ select just in general with the insta-lock Kled and then the brand to follow it up for Max. I feel like if this bottom lane goes awry, it could be disastrous news for Kingzone, given the fact that if this MVP roster gets rolling, think about what they can do in close range. There is no way you could come anywhere near them. The charge is going to be used to get the hell away from this death squad of champions.
And when Vlad is the biggest range champion, those bounces from the Brand could be pretty fearsome. However, Brand at the front, a lot of people for Kled to run at, and not the disengage we saw from the composition last time out.
I think that the early game is going to be so important for both of these teams. MVP throwing in some spanners, but the Kled to come in for Kingzone. Let's see what happens in game one. Kingzone fans still out in force. Seems like they haven't lost too many. I can see some jerseys in the audience, as you can see right here. Fans definitely ready. See whether they can bounce back.
That's great pizza delivery
there as well.
Ian there.
Yeah,
that was a good one. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a Kingzone fan, isn't your time to be, stand up and be counted? You need to be there for your team. You know they're doing bad. It's worn on their expressions. Went to the after party after Rift Rivals. Weren't too many Kingzone players there, Atlas. I'm sure they had a lot to think about. They've had a couple of days. They didn't quite have the 48-hour turnaround. This is very much the 72-hour turnaround. They've clearly been able to practice up the Kled. It is on Khan, so it's someone who's played Kled. I thought individually his Kled was pretty poor, but they did win the game earlier this season. Let's see if he can do his best Doinby impression, this time on the top lane Kled.
Yeah, and we'll see whether ADD can handle the matchup as well. MVP are going to be starting blue buff here for Yondu as well, the Troll King. Let's see what he can do on the top side of the map first. Prolific Vision's going to eat through this minion wave very easily. The added benefit of not having to help with a leash.
13 months since we've seen Max's famous Brand support. This is the champion where this team upset KT Rolster with a 2-0 over the Gangnam Stadium, with Max bringing out first-time Brand support. Punishing KT, who got a bit too excited, as they were wont to do.
Probably one of the fans' fault for getting too excited.
Man, Shen has just the worst matchup ever into Malzahar Brand.
Yeah.
He can't get anywhere near them. He can't all-in Max because he has cleanse. Yondu shows because he wants the Scuttle Crab on bot side, so just showing a bit of dominance there, and Kaz going top side trying to dodge him. We didn't even talk about the jungle matchup because it sucks, but the bot lane sucks even more for Shen.
It does. It sucks for Kingzone. See whether they can actually make use of that and focus elsewhere. Try and grab the top lane kill potentially. A lot of mobility for Khan. Can lock down the Darius with Bear Trap. Could be a problem. It's a little bit of the who's stuck in where with who when it comes to Darius versus Kled. Both of them wanting to jump on top of each other, and if one of them gets a lead, could really be a snowballed lane as Kaz, extremely low, just going to face check Yondu. Is going to be able to get it there, denies the Arctic Assault over the wall, but Kaz goes the other way, has the flash, and will definitely have to use it. Yondu flashes after him though, looking for a pillar, does have the cooldown reduction of blue, and Nevermove is going to miss. Does have the ground and oh god, the last auto, and Ian picks up first blood for MVP.
Man, Cuz deserved better. That was a really good attempt at escaping. So many skills dodged, but the auto follows him over the wall. His flash is down. Yondu's creative pathing just surprised him. Cuz did not expect to see him at his blue buff, and now Yondu's going to continue his walk.
Yep, ADD going to go aggressive onto Khan, but this might actually be too much. The apprehend comes down, Khan going for the dive. The passive's on top, but he flashes out of the way. Yondu's already got the pillar down, and Khan styles on ADD.
Bit of inspiration there from Doinby. Khan will like that one. You know, has something to say. Gets his mount back. Hey, Skull. Nicely done by Khan.
Yeah, really nicely done. It's going to be the teleport to bring ADD back in. Only 4 minutes into the game, so those death time is practically 0. However, the damage feels like it's been done. 23-10. The Kled already off to a great start. We mentioned how snowbally this matchup can be.
But mention that Ian has double buffs because he got that auto attack over the wall, and that's pretty happy for the Swain, who doesn't have a lot of lane control for multiple levels in his queue and maybe a catalyst. Let's see what Talon can do. It isn't quite as compositionally bad for him as it was yesterday for you, Carl, but still wants to get going. And speaking of getting going, that's ADD done.
Yeah, ADD is going to die one more time, and Khan is going to grab his second kill of the game. It's not a huge gold lead, considering the fact that First Blood did go over to MVP, but ADD, I am so sorry for saying all those good things earlier.
I told you.
Yeah, you're right.
You got excited about ADD, and just like KT, don't do that, and the English football team, rip.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that I should have really stepped off that one. So I apologize, ADD. If you do lose this game and it's because of you, then I guess it's my fault, and I need to go and say sorry to the entire MVP organization.
I imagine ADD just took the Darius as kind of a safe pick. I obviously didn't know about the Kled and where he was going, but the eventual lane matchup that has certainly got snowballing and then some. I mentioned Titanic Hydra on the way very soon. Khan himself is helping himself to just a bit more, taking away the scuttle.
Yep, he should easily be able to get that. Attaches a rope to it, and the little guy is certainly not long for the world. So Khan moving back towards the top lane. ADD at least is able to get a ward down, has the wave in an okay spot, but now it's going to start pushing back to Khan, and this is where the top laner's life becomes absolute hell.
2 levels up. He doesn't have a control. If he had a control ward in the river, it's still so early in the game, with no stopwatches, that the charge into mid lane and killing the Swain would be what he wanted to do. But for now, he will be spotted on a roam as we spot the Trundle looking for a lane gank. I don't really know what that looks like, but I guess he could try.
I guess this is the hoping to God that, ADD survives the lane and can get a shove on. Yondu probably just showing himself so that they can guarantee this, as Kingzone are going to utilize the top lane pressure to take the Infernal Drake on the bottom side of the map. Gorilla very happy to be out of the lane.
Only a long sword for combat stats means he's not going to have a fun time against previously double buff Swain. They do get that Infernal, so nice map play by Kingzone reading where they expected Yondu to be. In the end, Yondu just shows because he knows he's been off the map for too long, and also that there's no way Darius is going to get a decent back timer when he's this far behind, so helps the shove but doesn't help the experience lead. It's back to 2 levels after that minion dies.
Oh, this feels so bad as the dagger had to be picked up by ADD, building towards his Stinger first. Absolutely the worst possible option, but when you got 300 and you don't want to wait 50 gold, that's all you can really do.
Is Predator from the Vladimir, and it is Prey on the Vladimir this time. Yeah. Prey was the most criticized member of Kingzone at Rift Rivals. That last game, his Lucian performance, was assassinated by the Kled one too many times. And it kind of becomes a merry-go-round. It was definitely Gorilla, Khan. They were the big people at MSI who got a lot of criticism, and Peanut as well now at both tournaments. Prey involved. Only BDD has been able to escape criticism, you'd say, for international games, but he wasn't a huge star at Rift Rivals either, so a lot of food for thought for the team of Kingzone.
Yeah, had one decent team fight on the Anivia, if I remember correctly, in the final game, but otherwise it was not the performance that you'd expect out of our #1 representative from the LCK. Well, this, however, is not the #1 representative opponent. MVP certainly struggling at the moment.
Turns out rank 2 doesn't mean that much for ADD when he's given away 2 kills to the enemy Kled. Yondu doesn't want to go top lane anymore. He knows that was already something that allowed a free Infernal to Kingzone. So basically ADD's on Tal duty, or the direst treatment, whichever way you want to explain it.
Well, I mean, the direst treatment means that we're going to have Cuz up there with BDD diving him as well. And look, to be honest, I wouldn't say that too loud because that may just happen further on. It does give Maha and Max some free reign here on the bottom side. However, Prey's only 12 CS behind, and this is a wave moving towards him. Kingzone have navigated this lane very well.
They have, but at a cost. Look at the items that Prey has had to buy. We only ever see this item build from Vladimir in a solo lane against Ryze because you can't take the trades. So this is going to be something that goes against the rest of the team. Talon is going to be about early to mid-game power spike. The Kled is going to be happy to roll in early with all of this gold. But the Vladimir is going to take even longer to turn online, and that does mean that actually getting the offensive items in order is going to take a lot of time. And speaking of time, apparently we're going.
We got the flash ult to come down in this bottom lane. Gorilla has to flash very early. Malefic Visions isn't enough. Oh, the shield's really good as MVP. They've kept themselves alive, but they've thrown Max to the damn wolves. He's going to go down. The passive not going to be enough, and Gorilla is going to survive. Kingzone masterfully get out of the way of the MVP dive.
They read the map really well, Atlas. They had Cuz in the right spot at the right time for the counter gank. Seeing that the enemy team was actually freezing the way, building it up, threatening a dive ahead of the play, and that means that Kingzone assert themselves very well.
Yep. Didn't even really need BDD to come down there, but he was there anyway.
But look where Sejuani is. She knows exactly where to be. That is not setting up for a proactive play. That's being in the right place at the right time. Max had already used his flash, so there was no way to get out, and they can even give the kill to BDD.
Fantastic. Get this Talon rolling. We'll see whether it is going to be the sad sack Talon like we saw yesterday. It was not a very great time at all from UCal. Talon got completely outscaled. This time around, there are a few squishy targets. Max especially is going to be an option for him to take down. Not a lot of invulnerability on absolutely everyone that he has to worry about.
Man, ADD has crap items.
Oh yeah, he's having a crap time. He's got some ninja tubbies now though.
It was way better than cloth armor and a dagger.
Brown bags and a dagger, yeah.
Well, he's in a rough spot, and maybe he will go for that lane swap after all.
Precisely what he's going to do, but he's against pretty difficult items to deal with as Yondu's going to make his way in. They do get the pullback finally with this Swain-Trundle combo. Charge going to be used defensively, but that is a cooldown now off the map for Kingzone. They
need that second member, otherwise Karma's going to try to all in, and you get a defensive ult out of someone who has all the gold. So I guess that's pretty good, really, all things considered for MVP. But consider the jungler's time has been super wasted. Yondu has been doing the thing you never want to do in solo queue of trying to prop up the bad lane, not actually targeting the lane to get you ahead. While that means that Ian can push up and they got an ult down, Yondu's still here. I just don't think there's any good news around the play.
Yeah, Vision of Empire to try and deny as there's the Demonic Ascension. Khan is going to be dismounted, but can they actually get more? Gorilla is going to come in with the Stand United, but Ian with a really nice stopwatch is going to be the end of the Shen. And now he's looking for more. Flash was available, decided not to go for the max range Demon Flare, but they're still moving up here. Ward's going to spot BDD as he jumps in on top of Ian. Good flash comes down as ADD finds it. The ult comes in, and BDD just too aggressive. Cuz now, are we just going to go in one after the other? Ian is going to get taken down, and Cuz has a full health bar. He's going to be okay.
Gets the fadeaway flash from Ian as well. Would have wished he didn't use that. Lot going on the map. Now we see the Vladimir just trying to keep the turret up.
Yep, ult comes in from Maha actually, but Max was not on the same page. Teleport from Khan, he just wants to get 2 kills. Didn't like the fact that he died just there, and Max, he doesn't have the flash. He is about as dead as you can possibly be.
Does capitalize with the kill. Maha seems a bit hard done by. His ally went down there. Max had no way to escape. The brand, so far, things conspiring against the brand. ADD's still topside, and ADD's getting farm that he wasn't getting before, so decent stuff for him, and he'll love the kill to prop up that gold total.
Yeah, that gold total where he's 40 CS behind against a 2-0-1 Kled. Real bad news. Thankfully, they were able to get that kill onto BDD, even if Khan was able to survive.
It's going to be the
double Infernal,
which is good news for them. It's also going to be not a full commitment to a Spirit Visage, just sitting on the Spectre's Cowl, then going for the Protobell. It is Prey's first career game on the Vladimir. I guess shouldn't be surprising if he hadn't played it this season. Wouldn't have played it earlier.
Yeah, sort of tried his hands at things like the Swain and the Mordekaiser, but not so much anything else, as Yondu's going to get caught out. Stun comes in, he's well and truly dead. Khan living on the bottom side of the map, and the Troll in the wrong place.
And the problem for MVP is every time they're walking up, notice the control ward line for Kingzone is littered down the river. So they keep trying to walk up and they're selling themselves down the river, MVP, getting picked off one by one. A lot of engage and pick CC. A lot of people can come over the wall. Kled, Sejuani, Talon, all of them can come over the wall, and even Shen situationally. So because of that, MVP really needs to be playing as a team right now. It's kind of losing 1-for-0 quite frequently.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and Kingzone, as they get further and further ahead, things are going to become more and more difficult because whenever that Stand United is off cooldown, they can go all in, they can do crazy things all over the map, and then Gorilla right there to take care of them if anything goes wrong. It's a real disaster. Khan going for this lane swap before any turrets have actually fallen means that this tower that was under siege really heavily by MVP is no longer a problem.
Desperately need that Trinity Force on the side of ADD. We saw yesterday the bot lane Vel'Koz once again happening in the LCK after we saw it debuted at Rift Rivals by Deft. Reason why that one that Kramer and Deft has played is a bit different to Maha's is that Vel'Koz, if you get the first passive proc, does true damage on the ulti. So there's a very good payoff to an extended fight there where you can actually have threat on anyone, magic resist or no. The Malzahar doesn't have that sort of a mechanic. So magic resist certainly just a lot cleaner as an answer to him. And when it just comes to compositions, this is one where definitely Kingzone, with the right setup, can take down the Malzahar quickly.
Yeah, and you're talking about setup. Part of the reason why this is going to work now is because Khan can demand so much respect wherever he goes across the map. Meaning the Kingzone, we talk about this a lot with this team particularly, is the fact that they play with tempo so beautifully. And now it's going to be another game where they certainly have it. 3,000 gold is the lead. Things feel like it's just a bit of a textbook play now for Kingzone just to keep asserting their dominance, and we know that they're so good at capitalizing exactly like this. As Kaz moves into the mid lane, Ian is definitely dead. BDD looking for a second one. As in goes Gorilla, it's a good stopwatch from Yondu, but sorry buddy, it's not going to be good enough, and a double kill now for the Talon.
Kingzone ahead of the play like they so often are in Korea. Prey went for the Spectre's Cowl so he could be in the situation of being 1v2 with no QSS and have no kill potential from the enemy team coming out with this heavily punishing lane. Maha and Max exclusively picking for the 2v2. It's been a 2v1, and yet they haven't been able to break the turret ever since Sejuani turned around the earlier turret dive.
Yep, and now the whole map is completely dark for MVP as well. Look at that top side, zero vision. 3 control wards, so aggressively placed. You can see that lane ward that Khan had put down. That was before they'd even taken the damn outer turret. First turret blood is going to go over to the Kled very well deservedly, and at the same time, Kaz is going to get a Rift Herald. This is getting out of control so fast.
Oh, you're using nice words. It's way out of control. We're watching this. Yondu was in position for the counter gank. Pop goes the Swain, a new picture book coming to you. And they're even able to take down the troll under the turret. Meanwhile, 2v1, Brand and Malzahar able to do nothing. They add more objectives to themselves. If they just ink a 3 Infernal Drake start in a couple of minutes, hard to see Kingzone with anything other than a win in game number 1.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's scary stuff here for MVP fans, but heartening things for KT, for Kingzone fans, because they needed this. They really needed to be able to bounce back from what was such a very difficult time over at Rift Rivals. Still haven't quite done it just yet, but Shelly, she'll make short work of this outer turret, and that gold lead is only extending. 5,000 now. Yondu, his jungle no longer belongs to him, and there's 2 smites on the opposing team. As BDD looking for Ian once again. The charge is going to come down, but the Kled is going to be a little bit late to this party. He's still going to go in though. Ian's in trouble underneath the turret. Remember, he goes untargetable. He can do this all day. Everyone's paying a visit. And Maha, that is the wrong target, buddy. Gorilla is going to make his way out. Kaz has to flash away. It was a little bit scrappy, but at least Shelly got a charge.
Only got one direction on that Khan ultimate. He had to commit, and they were able to get a kill and get out. So still, overall success. It's mostly because they're so far ahead that they're able to take some turret shots, disengage, and be fine. Maha's still level 10, so the threat level's pretty low, all things considered. Khan goes back to the side lane, no harm, no foul, and continues to amp up his CS lead.
Yep. Well, he will do so pretty easily. Does have himself the Black Cleaver as well as the Tiamat. Not going to go for the Titanic Hydra first, which is what we saw from our Kled the last time we saw it. Okay, Kingzone pushing up on the bottom side as well. The last remaining in an outer turret will be the focus from Prey. Nosferatu Vladimir, super hipster on the skin front. Not exactly the most high quality though, with his little egg head. Look at it. Straight up looks like he's just got an egg for a head. It's brilliant.
I'm a Nosferatu hater, as you know.
I know.
Not a fan of that skin. I think it looks kind of crappy. Give me the Bloodlord any day.
Mm-hmm. Although you lose all of the puns with the Bloodlord, which is a bit of a problem.
We're trying not to be negative about Kingzone. We're trying to big them up in this particular game, as I knew I'd get a little laugh from you.
Yeah, I was like...
On that one.
Yeah.
I was like, what can I work into a sentence that's not just declaring a pun? Kingzone walks up, and yep, they control all of the map. Because they've gone for a 2v2 laning support, Brand can't walk anywhere, even though he has Flash and Cleanse up, and I mentioned the game was over if they got the 3 Infernal Drakes. Seems like that's exactly the third course here for Kingzone.
Yeah, and you were talking about RNG as well just before. You were like, oh, the Elemental Drakes feel like it's okay. This doesn't feel like it's okay if you're an MVP fan.
Hey, don't mention RNG around Kingzone.
Thankfully, they're not listening to the English commentary, especially not right now. But yes, I should probably watch out for it.
I can't really read this. Does this say the Kingzone win game 1? I think it does.
Yeah, I think so. By 24%.
Oh, okay.
They're going to win by 24%. I don't know what that necessarily means. I think they're winning by about, no, more than 24% of MVP's gold. So that's wrong. Because they've got a 6,000 gold lead now. It's even higher than that, and Khan is going to inflate it even further by picking up this Rift Scuttler. 30 seconds and the Baron is available. Feels like this game should already have a Baron in it, given the lead the Kingzone have got and the control that they've been able to pick up. Pushed up to inner turrets absolutely everywhere. Inner in the mid lane, very close to falling, and Gorilla having a great time just clearing out Vision. That control ward is going to survive, not sure how. That's a handy one as Vision of Empire secures the blue buff for Ian, and that's about all the good news that we have for MVP at the moment.
I know as an analyst, the thing I like to do in games like this where I'm like, okay, it feels pretty over, as Shen is going to get away, Gorilla doing just fine, is what does it look like for MVP to win a fight, to get an advantage that doesn't involve something that just can't happen, like a soloing down Baron and Kingzone never checking, something completely super ridiculous. And I can't really come up with an answer. If I'm stumped, if I can't think of any single way that MVP could play and win, that's when I usually say it's over, as ADD, will he just die?
I feel like this is definitely the example of the problem. Okay.
Nicely done.
We're going to switch it around. I feel like BDD probably could have just taken a different angle on that wall and maybe things could have been different. However, it's a nice escape coming in from ADD. But the representation of Darius getting soloed by Talon and having to flash away basically is the epitome for how screwed MVP are this game.
Yeah, they're really screwed. They have no chance, really, of winning this game. This is a 99-1% situation because triple Infernal and also Kingzone just taking over everything on the map. Don't really see any light at the end of the tunnel here. Baron is the most free. They have 3 control wards down on it. I guess they don't have a control ward on the actual Baron, so the trinket ward from the Malzahar would stick around for a half second, but of course would just be cleared out.
Yeah, it's feeling like we're digging for potential upsides for MVP. Because that line of control ward vision, very effective.
So what do you need to believe in Kingzone again? Is it possible to be simulated in Korea for you, Atlas?
I think so, but I'm a bit of an optimist, as you know. I like to look at small sample sizes of stats and assume that teams can replicate that based on not a lot of consistency. And Kingzone have not had a lot of consistency. However, when they look good, damn, Papa, they look so good.
It's just so tricky for them. My hearts kind of go out because whatever happens this year, it won't be good enough. Let's say they go on and win Worlds, and MSI comes around next year. There's still even going to be the backup there of they could only win it in Korea because the tournament is being held here this year. They win this game, lol, Kingzone back in Korea. It'll answer questions for themselves, and it's all going to be about self-confidence for the players. But because it's been those few tournaments in a row, the deck is really stacked against them, and now the fan sentiment is away from them in a way we haven't really seen for a dominant era. We are in the Kingzone era. They've won 2 tournaments in a row in terms of the LCK. Going for a third, 3 has never been done, and yet they're still a top 3 contender for LCK Summer, and yet we're in this spot. But kind of everyone wants to see them fail, Atlas.
Yeah. They got a bit of the EDG syndrome going on as Khan, he's on his own. He's going to charge his way out. And MVP were distracted. And ADD now could be in trouble as BDD Shadow Assault very early. And honestly, I feel like a lot of these plays were a little bit odd. They could have just stayed on the Baron and allowed the Kled to buy some time. However, not going to be the case. They search for the kills. Come up empty.
Bit sloppy there. They must have thought their Pixies from the Sejuani would be enough, but with the Kled already disengaged and didn't seem like good things were going to happen. It's a bit of a reprieve for MVP. They'll build towards some items, but we don't really see any 2-item spikes coming out anytime soon for MVP that will actually impact fights. The issue there can zone control on Ian. Maha, I think, is always going to be behind the damage curve on this Malzahar.
Yeah, he certainly is now with the Zhonya's Hourglass needing to be purchased very early. Probably wants himself a sweet hat and a Void Staff before he's really going to be doing anything of note. Right now, he's just a Nethergrass bot.
I think Malzahar from behind, which is what you're going to get in the duo lane. You're going to sacrifice something, in this case, levels.
Yeah.
Champions had so many nerfs to base damages and things like that to try to dissuade the POW level of support into the mid lane being oppressive and nerfed as well, that from behind, not having the levels and items makes him feel like he just tickles, and he's gone a tickling build in the Zhonyas. And yes, you can say, look at these 3 items. They answer the Talon. But the Vladimir, the Kledu already is such a big problem. I don't think there's any way for him to build Zhonyas and actually do damage, and that's why I do worry about what Maha can really contribute to any sort of fight.
Well, speaking of contributing, that's going to be another kill to the scoreline of Kingzone as Stand United comes in, ADD dies, and now Kingzone with a 5 versus 4 advantage. Quite a few seconds on this map.
Walk up, they don't have full minion waves, so they won't get the turret here, but Baron, that we saw tried a couple of times, will be back on the menu. Khan has his ultimate available, and MVP can't face check unless it's Yondu. That's a bit of a problem for them, as this time the Baron may be committed to.
Yep, that's a super fast turn that you were talking about there with the Kled ultimate. The charge certainly going to be important there. As look at all of the extra vision that they put down. We didn't quite have enough vision last time we went for the Baron. We want to be able to see their entire jungle. They do so. They lock down the Baron. It's clean. It's 3.5 minutes of purple magic for the minions. And a big problem for MVP.
Good news for Kingzone fans is if you just ignore what happened overseas and judge them by the level of League of Legends you see on the Rift, maybe there was a couple of mistakes around their first Baron setup, but otherwise, the warding is great, the turns are great, they're being proactive. This is what Kingzone fans want out of Kingzone. So if we're focusing on the LCK, they are very, very close to bouncing back with a clean Game 1 victory.
Yep. BDD was actually looking for ADD there as well, still wondering whether he's going to come and try and check this one out. Car's going to take down a Mountain Drake. I'll just augment these triple Infernals with a Mountain. No worries there at all. Kingzone getting the dream. Dragons now that they want to siege down turrets.
So I'm going to reach for a reference, which could be wrong, but it's in my head anyway. If this was Spo TV and we had an interview, if we had a segment of who was the better DD between ADD and BDD, could we give them a King DD plush toy from Kirby?
Oh, hell yeah.
King DD.
You'd need one, because they'd be the... Oh.
Yeah!
I mean, I know it's King DDD, so theoretically we just need a new player in the LCK just called DDD.
And awkwardly it would have to be a global stream thing, because they technically call ADD Edu, so it doesn't really fit for them. But I had Kirby on the mind, so what can I do?
And if it's DDD, then you can call him 3D as well. It's like, yes, you are real. Congratulations. It's correct. It's beautiful. Just like this siege from Kingzone, able to take down the inner turret very easily. Top lane as well, we've got the 1-3-1 of death, as Khan is pretty much unstoppable. Not a lot Ian can do apart from do his best to clean out these minions.
Give it a gosh darn try.
Yeah, golly gee. Well, ADD should be able to get rid of this siege minion at least. I don't think that's going to be enough, as Khan by himself will obliterate this inhibitor turret. MVP are going to commit to this, trying to lock him down, but the charge means that he can't get suppressed, and now jumps off the bird and is going to be taken down, but bought a lot of time. BDD should be able to obliterate this top inhibitor turret. Same thing. Oh no, not going to happen in the mid lane. However, the base is broken. Not a lot MVP can do. All they get is a Kled.
With solo queue, I think the old chat worth may be in order for Khan, but trying to win friends these days, so no old chat in this particular game. Kingzone already have 2 inhibitor turrets basically done with. Walking up to this mid lane one.
Yep, that's going to be taking down the siege minion. All that they needed, didn't change targets, is, okay, cuz, bit of a party ultimate there.
Zoning ultimate as they get the turret down, nicely done.
Yeah, that was a glacial prison break, I think. They just really got out of that.
Is that the new season name? I'm not keeping up.
I think so. I mean, it's probably one of the damn season names. There's about 1 billion of that show.
I never got into Prison Break.
Neither did I. I felt like it was trying to take itself a bit too seriously when crazy stuff was happening.
I heard good things about season 1.
Yeah, me too. I heard too much. It's like why I didn't watch Lost as well, because I heard what happened. And I was like, well, no, I guess I don't need to watch it. Ian doesn't really want to watch this, as does have the Zhonyas, so BDD is going to come out and see whether he can deter them, but knows now that there's both solo landers on the bottom side. Prey can shove in on the top. They can just keep this pressure on. Thankfully for MVP, they haven't lost an inhibitor yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in the game, so that's good news for them.
Yeah.
The Talon gets late enough. Who's to say they can't pull off a heroic Jin Air defense if it gets to 50 minutes?
Could theoretically be the too bad Charlie Brown situation once again.
Gold game with the Baron buff. We still don't have the Baron buff power play, but good to know that 9,900 gold was claimed.
It's a lot of gold. They did take every single turret apart from the Nexus variety. Now they're pushing in. It's the 3-1-1. Kingzone just spreading MVP just a little bit too thin. BDD in the mid lane should be able to take his down. Khan makes short work of his on the bottom side, and now it should be just the Dominoes. Cuz does have the brand passive on him, taking a little bit of poke damage here, but Prey will get rid of that top inhibitor, and now Super Minions streaming in from 2 lanes. They shouldn't even need to worry about this mid lane inhibitor. Starting the timers now is also important because the Baron buff has worn off, and these inhibitors will be back online about when the Baron is respawning.
Coming back in, still has the Predator to spray. I imagine a big item purchase comes out. We had the Ultra Zoom out to show you that MVP really had no good decisions being pulled to 3 different lanes.
Yeah.
Khan posturing around bot side is okay.
Yeah, ult's going to come down onto the Sejuani, but is able to flash out. The Glacial Prison comes in as a fadeaway as ADD. Keeps himself alive for the moment. For this part of the game, MVP have figured themselves out, but now the kills come in for Kingzone. The explosion of damage from the Vladimir, and now BDD asserts his dominance. He'll let Ian live, but you best believe that he decided that that was going to be his fate. Nexus turrets, the last remaining things to take down, and Ian overstepping a little too long. The Kled not going to be as nice as the Talon, as Kingzone assert themselves as the national champions yet again.
Working out some demons in game number 1, a Kingzone instant first pick on the red side of the Kled, and good game from Khan this time. First Kled from him, not too great. Second Kled from him, a lot better. They put the Darius in the dumpster, and MVP could never really re-emerge on that, especially ADD, who had nowhere to go on that Darius. It's Kingzone back in Korea. It also is the first win of a team who went to Rift Rivals on the LCK stage. Kingzone DragonX do it in Korea. More news at 9. Good stuff from them, but doesn't answer any of the questions that the fans have posed to them in the last few days.
Yeah, the thing that I really liked as far as answering questions, though, is the draft. Kingzone drafted much better than we saw. Over at Rift Rivals, there were certainly some holes. They got completely smacked by a strategy they obviously hadn't scouted against Rogue Warriors, which really was a big problem for them as well. Certainly a lot that you can take away from this that shows that they've adapted to 8.13, even if it is a week too damn late.
And you know what I want to see next game? I want to see some Karthus with Smite from Prey. Let's just continue taking the inspiration from Rogue Warriors. Have a bit of fun with it. MVP tried some stuff themselves. The brand was too easily answered by Shen leaving the lane, and no 2v2 happening because it was all happening elsewhere on the Rift. If the ADD Darius was stronger, wouldn't have been able to see Shen roam as easily. But this one was definitely decided super early. 3 Infernals, the fire burns MVP. Let's see if a game 2 can change anything.
Yeah, you can see MVP not looking too deterred as they discuss things in their booth. You can see the damage numbers certainly huge for BDD, who was able to rocket around the map. I was expecting highest damage to go over to the Kled. However, quiet achiever this game was BDD. Certainly able to throw those rakes over Ian a hell of a lot. But you can see Brand doing the damage like he normally does, but he also dies extraordinarily fast, and Max, a bit of a disappointing one 13 months later.
No turrets, no Drakes, no Barons. The Talon gets ahead. The Kled is just an immovable object. No way back into the game for MVP. Only some kills. Kingzone got a bit bloodthirsty. MVP will want to hope that game 2 is an improvement in their fortunes.
Yeah, Kingzone DragonX looking to try and solidify themselves a clean 2-0, get to that 7-win mark with an opportunity to challenge that top spot moving into our second round robin. Guys, we are going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll